Hey, what's going
What's
on?
going on, man?
You just in the studio?
Yup, just sitting here with Dexter, waiting on my Postmate to get here.
Yeah, dude, the good life.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. What
Hell
did you
yeah.
order?
Well, I ordered from Proper Bagel, but then they canceled on me, so
Uh,
yeah, throws off my whole day. So I got some, I got some East Side banh mi.
oh, yes, dude, doing it right,
Hell
doing
yeah.
it right.
What's going on, man? I dig your Nine Inch Nails shirt.
Thank you. You know, this is like they like did some
That was fuck yeah.
reprints. They did some
Okay.
reprints of like some of the older ones, the Downward Spiral one, and I was like, I couldn't help it. I mean, the back and everything. I'm like,
It doesn't look like a reprint. The black is all faded and shit. Looks great.
they did a good job. Like it feels like legit vintage. So,
Hell
I
yeah.
had to. I'm kind of a junkie with that stuff.
I know you are.
Dude, well, thank you so much for coming on here to hang out and chat.
Yeah, happy
Um,
release day.
dude, happy release day. We did it. The
Yeah,
song
we
is
did
out.
it. Long time
Dude,
coming.
I
I
know.
uh I think it was because it was a holiday, but I definitely remember recording all the guitar stuff Thanksgiving 2021.
That's
So
crazy.
it has been a minute. Yeah, I wasn't even in the studio yet. I was still in my house in what's now like my little home gym, but like I was working out of that for months until the studio was done. But I remember doing the guitars up there.
Well, whatever the magic was in that home gym, I think you were just pumping so much iron and you were just like, oh, about to do a
Oh
guitar
yeah.
part. Hold on.
Oh, oh yeah, I'm getting huge.
You should see me with my shirt off. Oh, look at the pup. He's
Hey
like,
buddy.
don't show me, Dad. I'm not ready for fame.
You're gonna be a star.
We're gonna make you stop, kid. Did he just lick your face as you said
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah. He
So
he knows what's up.
you got to tell us, which guitar did you use for the parts that you played on Space
Oh
Jam?
man. Uh
Do you remember?
probably probably all my Firebird. How do I flip this around? Here we go. Probably all this
Oh,
guy.
show us the goods.
Yeah. The OG. This is the one that Gibson gave me for the Swing Swing video in
Dang.
2002. Still has my old school label maker name tag on it.
Oh my gosh, you put your name on it. I love it. You're like, nobody gets this guitar but me.
Yeah.
Suck
Well,
it.
I don't wear underwear, so I got to put my name on something.
Dude, I remember going to summer camp and like my mom like getting out a Sharpie and writing my name on my underwear, and I'm like, who's gonna steal my underwear? What kind of camp is this crap?
Right? Why did they do that? And I'm surprised that like so you're a little younger than me, so like I'm surprised that every generation still does this.
Yeah, for
Like
real. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. Like maybe we could put a chip in the underwear, or we could put
a
something in there so we know it's ours. We could put like what's one of those little apples, little
put a
apple
little
symbol?
apple tag in
You know,
your
put an
underwear.
apple tag. I'm like, what is that?
Dude,
Oh, it's my it's my Apple tag.
I wonder if there's underwear that has like a little pouch for an Apple tag out there yet.
If there's not, we just had $1 million idea. Nobody, we trademark
TM.
it. TM,
Yeah.
TM. Well, dude, I was gonna tell you, Swing Swing was probably the first song I heard from All American Rejects.
Oh
So
damn, you go way back.
I know that first record. That I remember hearing that first record and being like, "What the hell is this? This is amazing!" Like,
Aw.
did you guys end up writing all that together like early on before you ever recorded it, or how did the process happen?
Oh man, yeah. Well, was I still in high school? I think no, I had just gotten out of high school.
Shut up.
I tried going to college. I hated it.
Dang.
Stopped going. I didn't drop out. I just stopped going.
Not
I
recommended.
Not recommended. I do think I had like a 1 point something grade average. But Tyson was a little younger than me, so he was still in high school.
Wow.
And I remember we already had like 5 or 6 songs when we got the attention of Doghouse Records,
Crazy.
who signed us to make our first record. And they're a small company out of Ohio, but they had the Get Up Kids and
Yeah.
stuff, and so I was pumped. But
That's huge.
yeah, but you know, back in, I guess even still, like getting a record deal is kind of a big deal. So we were stoked. We're like, okay, but we only have like 6 songs, and they're like, all right, well, like write like 5 more, and then you know, then we'll make a record. So Tyson decided to graduate high school early. He finished December of his senior year, and that fall, from like September through December, he would come over after school every day and we would just write. And we literally did just that. We wrote 5 more songs, and then
Wow.
the only 11 songs that we had to our name are the first record.
That's so ridiculous. That's like the musician's romantic story. The like I was still in school. Every day after school I did these songs, and then we got signed out of high school, and those were the songs, and then we blew up when we got famous. It's like, what in the world? Get out of here with that. That just doesn't happen anymore.
The writing and the recording of the songs and the blowing up and getting famous, there was a little bit of a gap there, but still, I mean, yeah. I guess still not much. At the time, like really like slugging it out for a year in our van,
yeah.
Playing bars on the weekend, like for a year, felt like fucking forever.
I bet.
But you know, I mean, yeah, by the time we went, between when we went to New York to record the album to then when they gave me that guitar to make the video for Swing Swing was literally exactly 12 months.
That's so crazy. I love hearing everybody's story. Everybody's different, like, rise to wherever they've eventually got their music heard, because it's just all so different and all so cool. Like, I'm like, that's so ridiculous. That is like a wild journey. But then here we are, however many years later, making music, because I heard y'all's record, and then when Chris Allen, who was at 1RPM, who was the distributor who put this music out, he was like, hey, you know Nick lives here from the Rejects, and because I mentioned that I like you guys and Weezer and a few other bands, and he was like, he told me that, and I'm like, shut up, really? That's crazy. And so then the second time came around, Nick Bailey, who kind of sent like a little bit of the song idea for this, like he was like, dude, we should get him to play on it. And I'm like, yes, absolutely, send it to him right now.
Man, Nick Bailey, I haven't seen him in forever, but we used to tour with his old band.
No way.
Back in our van days. Yeah, his band Over It would open for us quite a bit, because I think he was in cahoots with Chris Allen too.
Okay, yeah, because I think Chris like managed y'all or something at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for the longest period of our career, Chris Allen was our manager.
That is so wild. Yeah. I just love it too. It's like people go from manager to working at a distribution company to whatever. It's like music business is so funny like that. Like I mean, literally, while you guys were in high school getting signed and whatever else, I was in high school. Interscope had approached me about a development deal. The other guys in my band turned it down. They were like, no, we want to go to college. And I'm like, bro, you can go to college anytime. Like, what are we doing? And literally I went back to college like 2 years ago. So you can go back anytime. You really can. I mean, it's like, so I'm like, I think at that time though, I was too young to know to say that. Like, I couldn't say like, hey, we could go to college anytime, but it all just kind of fell apart.
Question, how did Interscope find you? Because here's the kicker with our story. I literally mailed a fucking demo CD to record labels. And that's how we got signed, because they opened up one of my fucking padded envelopes that I packed myself and put a stamp on. So
crazy.
That's
crazy.
So that's unheard of now. Like, people
did they even know what you guys looked like or anything?
I think our picture was on the cover, but there was just the two of us, which you can totally get away with now. Yeah. But like back then, they were like, yeah, that's weird. It needs to be a band. There needs to be more of you.
Yeah. There's like, where's the drummer? Where's the bass player? They're like, well, the singer plays bass. You're like, okay, this is weird. I don't like this. Yeah,
this is weird. So how did Interscope find you? How did that happen?
So crazy enough, my band got asked to play a birthday party for like a barber, like some guy who cuts hair was like, hey, will you come play my kid's birthday party? And we lived in Atlanta, and so it was like downtown Atlanta at somebody's basement. And so we just, thinking back on it, I'm like, where was the microphone? How did we get a speaker? Like, I don't remember any of that stuff. Like, how did they even hear us properly, you know? But we played, it was a 3-piece because at the time I was a huge fan of Marvelous 3 and Butch Walker.
Yeah.
And just 3-piece bands like Green Day and Blink-182 and all these bands that were just 3 of them. And so we're like, we're going to do a 3-piece band, you know? And so we were just smashing out these, you know, crazy, wild songs that had ridiculous lyrics. And the guy was like, hey, man, I know this is a kid's birthday party, but my name's Scott Michael, and I'm from Interscope. I'm signed under, I'm Jeff Blue. I want to sign you guys. And I'm like, here at the party?
At
like at this
barber's birthday party? Amazing.
But unlike you, my hopes and dreams went crashing and burning after the other 2 guys were like, hey, we'd like to get an education and actually make money for a little while. And I'm like, dang it.
Dope.
Idiots, look at them now. They're pharmacists and working for the CIA, dummy.
They have an education and a salary and health benefits. What dopes.
401k idiots.
Yeah. Loser.
So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I remember too, like after getting back to Spaced Out, I remember when we got your guitar parts back in the studio and we started shifting through stuff.
All like 80 of
there
them.
Was
like
so many parts. We were like, how
shit all over that thing.
I was like, how do we pick? But we found a couple that were just like, dang, this takes it over the top. And then there was one that you had as a hidden track. I think it was the kind of crazier part that's in the post. And it was a hidden track, and we're like, ooh, hidden goodies. And we opened it up, and it was like, oh, another man's trash is another man's treasure. Like, this is amazing.
No, it's funny because the other day when you came over, and are we allowed to say what we did the other day?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. When you came to the studio and we did a little like acoustic performance of it, I had to go back through the track because, like I said, I'd recorded those parts over a year ago at this point, so I had to kind of relearn them. And I'd forgotten how much shit I'd sent you, but yes, that post part, which I love, I think for some reason I fell out of love with it when recording it, and so I ended up just hiding it. I was like, I'll send it anyway rather than deleting it.
Yeah.
Thankfully I did, because going back, like the newer parts that it ended up morphing into with like a crazy fuzz and octave bullshit all over it. I listen now and I'm like, that's terrible. Like I'm so happy they didn't use those.
Well, dude, it was funny. I was so stuck on that recording, and I told you this earlier, but I was like, I was so stuck on that recording, and I don't know, we couldn't get it over the finish line. And then, you know, I was like, well, let's get a feature and see if that helps. And they added your guitar parts, and I was like, that was it. That was the missing link. Like, we just needed Nick's guitar parts to add that little bit of like, you know, like rejects kind of vibe to it. It's funny because when I kind of rewrote that chorus and kind of made it into more of an anthemic thing, like I was like, man, head in my hoodie, head in my hoodie, American Reject. I'm like, that could be American Reject, just like someone who just got rejected from a girl, but I'm like, American Rejects, wink, 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 you get it? You get it? And so it was so fun to like get one of you guys on the record. And, you know, it just kind of made it full circle. So thanks for doing it.
And I'm kind of just realizing this now, but like, it's so cool how when you say that, hopefully a lot of people get the reference and associate my band with that reference. But when we came out over 20 years ago now, they were asking us if our band name was a reference to Bikini Kill, I guess, All American Reject. I don't know if it's a title or a lyric in one of their songs, but it's also, there's a Green Day song on Nimrod where he says, "I'm a reject All American." Those are all just coincidences. I mean, I did listen to a lot of Green Day, so maybe it was subconscious, but like it wasn't ever like a total like direct reference to one of those things. But that if it, you know, here now 20 some years later, the reference lives on, and you're keeping it going, man. It just keeps morphing, and we have a new generation of this American Reject reference.
It's crazy because what I love about what's happening is that like I can put out these songs that are very much like a nod to like late 90s, early 2000s rock.
Yeah.
And some kids are going to hear it and be like, oh my gosh, Sam Tinnesz invented this, you know? Like, it's like they'll have no idea because they've never heard the records that I'm referencing.
Totally.
So it's like, yo, go back and hear the first All-American Rejects record. Go and hear all the rest of it. I'm like, and then go listen to the Blue Weezer record, and then go listen to freaking, like Green Day Nimrod, and go listen to Green Day Dookie, and like just get lost in all that shit.
Totally. It's like when I was growing up listening to Green Day, that's how I found the Clash, because I knew that they loved the Clash. So if you can find out who your favorite artists are, like, man, that's just a rabbit hole that you can just go forever.
It's the best. I definitely, I mean, I'm a fan of music first and foremost. I think my friends laugh at me and tease me because I come off like fanboy, but I love music. I love making it, and I love kind of meeting some of the people that were earlier people that I had listened to and getting to make music with them. It's just, it's all full circle, and it all feels like it was just meant to be and really cool. And yeah, you're right. Go back and listen to figure out who your favorite bands are. And then rather than just copying them, you can listen to the actual influences that made what their music is, what it is, you know?
Yep. And then catch the stuff that they ripped off from them.
Yeah. You're like, wait a second, that riff is really close. You're like, gives you hell, that lyric's from this, man. So funny.
Well, dude, you mentioned Marvelous 3. Do you ever hook up with Butch here in Nashville?
No, I haven't yet. You know, that's somebody I definitely need to connect with. Man, he's like Atlanta legend. Honestly, there's very few people that I totally geek out. I would say probably Paul McCartney would be one. Okay. You know, probably Chris Martin from Coldplay. And then funny enough, Butch is one of those because I came up in Atlanta being like, he's a legend. Like, dude is like Marvelous 3, his own solo stuff.
I love Marvelous 3.
Oh man, like Marvelous 3 was so good.
Well, speaking of your favorite bands, like I was listening to a lot of Marvelous 3 and that first Butch Walker solo record when we were coming up making our first couple of records.
Shut up. That's crazy.
So, full circle, man.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, dude, I remember like seeing Marvelous 3 play and they played Freak of the Week. Do you remember that Freak of the Week song?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, and I feel like just that era of Butch was my favorite. It was like shiny rock star. Like he was the perfect rock star, just skinny, like black hair, spiky, and like, you know, all this crazy clothes. It was like, dang, that's how you do it. That's it right there.
Hell yeah.
So crazy.
Dude, and speaking of Paul McCartney, this is about to get real nerdy. Do you ever go on Pure Mix, the website?
No.
They're doing this deep dive. I just started it yesterday. Like I do it while I'm like cooking. I'll go and like watch like really nerdy studio videos, but they're doing this thing where they go through they divided the Beatles' career into 4 different eras, and they're going through each era and recreating the recordings with the original gear in Abbey Road. It's fucking fascinating. Nerdy as fuck, but it's fascinating.
Hey, what is it called? How do we find it?
Pure Mix. Just puremix.com or .net. You might need it might be a subscription thing. I'm not sure, but it's a fascinating series.
For that. Dang, so they take the actual instruments that they used on the Beatles records and they try to remake the track.
They use the actual like studio gear, and comparable instruments.
Dang.
But it's so cool and nerdy. But yeah, if you're big into Paul McCartney, like they get real nerdy. So
I mean, I just feel like, you know, the songwriters like Paul or Tom Petty or, you know, people like that who just write these simple but like really earworm, like hooky choruses. That's my vibe. I just love that kind of stuff. Like I feel like I live for those, you know, choruses that you hear it once and you can't help but hum it back, even if you hate the song. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know how on trend it is to always be catchy, or hooky, or earwormy, but maybe it's just the music that you and I both grew up on. Like, the catchier, the better. Like, I want to be annoyed by how much I can't stop hearing this song in my head. You know what I mean? So whether it's whether it's listening to music or writing music or writing a guitar line or whatever, like I always want it to be a hook. It's like the just kind of the Mutt Lange concept, I guess. Like everything needs to have a purpose. Every single track, every vocal, every backing vocal, every little instrumental line needs to be important and be able to stand on its own. And I love that shit. I don't know if that concept still carries through, you know, to today, but I mean, at least, you know, when I grew up in the music that I love, like that seems to be, like you said, fucking Tom Petty, man.
Yeah.
God damn. Like sometimes the most simple shit. The Weezer Blue album. Like I love how basic all those drum parts are, but they're perfect and they fit so beautifully with whatever that vibe is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I
had heard that like Weezer wanted to be the next Nirvana, but like they were labeling them nerd rock, and Rivers was so like bummed about it, like not pumped that they were calling it nerd rock, not like, I mean, but when you go and you look at the album cover, you're like, it's kind of nerdy, you know, and then you listen to the music and you're like, a little dorky, but like amazing dorky, you know. It's just It's funny how like we see ourselves and we put ourselves out there and everybody else is like nerd rock, and you're like, wait, no, not nerd rock, not nerd rock.
I mean, the image has a lot to do with it, right? Like, do you think that bowl cut that he had on the cover of the first record came before or after they were called nerd rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally. I think he leaned into it. I think eventually he was like, okay, fine. We're not Nirvana. I'm not as hot as Kurt Cobain. You know. It's so funny because there's still sometimes where I'm like, okay, when we're shooting this thing, I'm like, I want to feel the feeling of like looking like Kurt Cobain. I'm like, we'll never look like Kurt Cobain, but just that feeling of being as cool. It's like, okay, whatever that is, that little like magic that he had, I'm like, give me some of that.
Dude, totally. And it's, you know, talking about the Beatles or Nirvana, like now that, you know, I'm older and I realize how fast time goes, I can't believe that like Kurt Cobain only existed as we know him for like 2 years. You know what I mean?
No.
Like that's crazy. I was just reading these little books called 33 and a Third. Have you ever seen these?
No.
They're little itty bitty books, like smaller than a moleskin, and there's like 200 of them, but each one of them is dedicated to a specific album. And they're each written by different people, so they all have kind of a different approach. Some of them have a more like musician-y, like nerdy approach. Some of them have a more like journalistic approach, whatever. But I just read the In Utero one, and it kind of goes through the timeline of everything. And I'm like, fuck, like everything that we know, like once Nevermind was huge to the time where he died, like it was barely even 2 years, and everything that was accomplished in those 2 years and everything we look back on that was just crammed into that little amount of time is crazy. And then, I mean, shit, Beatles too. I mean, they put out how many, 30 fucking records in like 2 years?
It's so nuts. I mean, yeah. When you think about the Beatles and you think about everything that happened with them, Nirvana, even Elvis, like the limitations that they each had their own like limitations that happened, and you're kind of like, how did they become worldwide smashes with the limitations? You know, it's like Elvis never left the country. How did that happen? You know, you're like,
really?
Yeah, never. I don't think he ever left and played any shows internationally. And if he did, it was like once. But I don't even think he did, because his manager
did Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right. His manager kept him here. His manager didn't want him to leave Las Vegas because that's where they were making money. And
his manager, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Thank God his manager got better from COVID. I mean,
yeah, right. Oh shit. No, but it's funny because like there was a lot less noise back then, and there were a lot fewer bands and artists. You know, maybe there weren't. We just didn't know about all of them like we do now. Like because of things like TikTok and you know digital streaming, anybody can put something out, which is great. Like. Wow. I wish I had those tools 20 years ago so I didn't have to stuff fucking envelopes and go to Kinko's and cut out fucking CD inserts, but here we are.
That's so crazy. I can't believe you blind sent that and somebody opened it up and they're like, this is perfect. Let's sign it.
Right. dude, it's insane. And I've been having this conversation recently, and I feel like I've come to a realization that like an artist getting discovered, there's always a little bit of luck. It's always a crazy story,
Yeah.
but like it's always the same. The vehicle or the I guess platform is just different. Now it's TikTok or whatever. 10 years ago, I guess 15 years ago, it was fucking, or maybe more. I don't know. What year is it? It's a while back, it was MySpace.
Yep.
And before that, it was literally, or going to somebody actually going to a show and discovering you, actually performing. And then before that, it was just fucking stuff in envelopes. It's all insane. Like it's all kind of debasing.
Yeah.
Like whether you're stuffing envelopes or filming a fucking TikTok, it's all kind of embarrassing, but like in the end, like you do it and you hope you get lucky.
Yep. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, now obviously it's like his name is not very great, but I watched that Kanye documentary, and where he goes into the offices and he starts like just rapping for these like random assistants in the middle of the office. And like they're kind of paying attention, but they're kind of not. And I'm like, and then eventually he just stops and turns it off and takes his tape and walks out. And you're just like, damn, that's cold. Like, I mean, back then, like he's literally in with all these record label people. He was sitting there rapping and performing, but they didn't see him that way. Half of it's getting people to see you in a certain way, to believe that you can do the thing that you say you can do, or the record that you made, to be able to make that record, put it out, and have it be believable. It's like, that's half the battle too, you know?
That is tough though, when somebody like puts themselves out like that. Because recently a kid came up to me and just started like singing a song to me. Like he wanted to collaborate, and he just started singing a cappella. And I'm like, this kid is so brave. He's got such big balls, but this is like, I don't know what to do.
Gorilla ball.
I don't know what to do with my hands right now. Like, what the fuck do I do? Like,
oh my gosh.
Just listen, just let him feel like, he's been heard, and then tell him he did a good job. And, I guess don't ignore him. I guess that's what we learned.
No,
I
absolutely.
I heard the other day that the Rolling Stones took Prince out as an opener, like back in the way early 80s, and he got booed off stage every fucking night.
Oh, dang. Yeah. I mean, imagine doing that with like one of the biggest bands in the world, and you're like, I'm opening for him. This is amazing. Like you're opening for Billie Eilish or something, and literally Billie's fans, every time you go out on stage, is like, boo, you suck. Yeah. Like to get back up there and keep going, I'm like, that's a nightmare. That's crazy.
Who was I? Oh, I've gotten really into the Rob Lowe podcast.
Oh yeah.
If you're a podcast guy, but it's a lot of fun, and he's a delight. But he was interviewing Danny Elfman. Oh, that's who I was listening to, because Danny Elfman said that his old band Oingo Boingo would take out the Chili Peppers, and they would get booed off stage every single night, opening for Oingo Boingo.
Oh my!
And
God.
He said the difference was Chili Peppers didn't fucking care. It almost fueled the fire, and like they just gave it even harder because of that. But because Prince is a more like sensitive artist, he quit the tour as soon as he started getting booed off stage.
Dang.
Yeah, poor guy.
I mean, I feel like there's some bands, like even like Nickelback, where you have to just have like iron skin to just be them. To be Chad Kroeger, you have to have skin of steel. To be Fred Durst right now, you have to have like the thickest skin ever. And I'm sure they're successful. I'm sure they're making money and providing, be able to live off of music, which is a dream in and of itself. But to have that kind of hate and still be able to keep going, that's something I'm like, I don't know if I could ever do that. I'm like, all right, God, don't do that to me, please.
I think you just got to keep your head down, and you just got to keep being yourself and doing what you're doing, because now it's kind of coming back around. And like, even when they came out, like Nickelback and Creed, like it wasn't awful.
No.
Like there was a lot of redeeming stuff about that music and those performances and those records. And it just wasn't cool to admit it. But now it's kind of coming back around, and like we're like, I think it's okay, guys. Like we can come out now. Like,
where are all my Nickelback fans, Creed fans? Let's go.
I saw a meme the other day. It's a picture of Kurt Cobain, and it said at the bottom in quotes, "Never made it as a wise man."
Those are my favorite. I almost go to repost those every time, and I'm like, I can't do this to Kurt. I can't do it to him. I'm like, I'm just gonna laugh and like it, move on.
It's so good. I love it so much,
dude. Well, I'm glad we did this live. We got on here. We told the story. We gave them all the goods. We told them how the rejects got found. We told them how I got rejected. I mean, you know, whatever. All the good stuff.
We got real nerdy about some shit, and I apologize.
Yeah, we did.
I instigated all of it. I'm sorry.
Well, everybody, before you leave, make sure you click that link right there, the 1 RPM spaced out link. Go check out our new song. Go listen and stream it and share it with your friends. And yeah, y'all have a good day. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Later, bro.
See ya.